What is the monthly rent on the property? I didn't see it listed.
The monthly rent would be $69 per day over 30 days. That'd be $25.53.
Tell me about the situation.
Well, Judge, my clients own a hotel. It is an extended stay hotel, and under the law, we really shouldn't even have to do an eviction. But the defendant had received a writ of reentry, so we've decided to do the eviction. We filed the notice. He has violated numerous of the hotel's policies, and I've got my client here who is an authorized manager of the holding company for the hotel, and he can testify to that. And in addition, we've got $2852.13 in back rent that's not paid.
Give me that number again.
Unpaid bill to date is $2,852.13.
Okay. Let me hear from your property or your witness.
Sure. Yeah. You want to identify yourself?
Yes, I'm Tarpan Patel. I'm associated with Cyrus Austin LLC as one of the owner and manager. And like Zen indicated, we have a Jack West, currently occupying one of the hotel rooms and violating the hotel policies, such as, not accepting the housekeeping service, harassment of employee, unsanitary living conditions, unregistered guest, and disturbing other guests at the hotel.
And Judge, he's also been violating the animal policies and procedures. He's been violating, he's created conditions and situations that adversely affect guests' impression of the hotel. And we have very strong reason to believe he's been smoking in any area of the building. We can provide specific examples of each one if you would like as well.
Let me hear from Mr. West. Mr. West, you're muted. You didn't unmute yourself.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you.
Okay. One, we'll start with each one of them I can contest. They asked them to schedule because I have service dogs. I do not have pets. I had 2 service dogs. I asked them to schedule. I always allowed them in. They demanded I kennel my animals. Under law, I'm not required, and one of them I am not to. And that's due to her specialized training. And I tried to explain this to them. 2, their second complaint. Never rude to the guests. The one time that I was asked not to record was in a public area while I was attempting to, while I delivered a letter of intent. I politely quit recording when she asked me to. Again, public area, she asked if I was recording. I said yes. She asked me to quit. I did. Actually, since then, we've been very civil. Unsanitary, I have a video today. I have a video 2 or 3 days ago, a week ago. My room is sanitary. They claim that it's not, but I can show videos. And I wish that there was smell-o-vision because it smell bleach and carpet fresh. I have a immune deficiency. I have to keep my room much cleaner than their people do, and that's been the issue. They come in, there's nothing to do, and they get upset. I don't know why. But disturbance of others was not me. It was my registered caregiver. The only, we missed one. Never had a unregistered guest. I had 2 guests. Technically, by law, I didn't have to register. They were registered caregivers. They managed to run both of them off. The first one, not their fault, but I've not allowed him back out of respect to them. Number 2 was the day of the reentry that Judge Olivo gave. As soon as they heard that the constable's on the way, they violently assaulted my door. That day they interrupted a medical procedure, throwing me out unannounced. I've been trying to pay my rent for 3 days, the 1 week that they're saying I'm not trying, and a half a day that I did owe. That morning, as I'm walking out the door at 8 o'clock, I stopped to pay the week and the debt, get it caught up. Oh, you got to be out by 11. I explained I'm handicapped. I can't do it. I can be out by the end of the day. This should all be on closed circuit TV. It happened at the desk. I need to get help. Nope, you got to be out by 11 or I'm calling the police. I guess call the police. I guess I got to go to the court instead of the doctor. I proceeded to the court. Judge Olivo gave the writ of reentry. That manager and the desk clerk violently assaulted my door to the point that my service animal, that's supposed to be my nighttime sleeper for sugar alerts, it has been petrified to sleep anywhere but in a cupboard or in the cage unless I'm awake and there to protect her. She's finally coming out of it. That was to prevent the constable from getting there. They had been notified. That's when they assaulted the door. I believe there is still video footage. There is a dozen calls to 911 that day, though, to prevent this. Since then, first week, they locked me out a minimum of a dozen times. I've got 9 recorded, and their computers will show. Examples is, my key works just fine. I go to walk one of my service animals. I go outside. This is well after checkout time, so it's not automated. Suddenly, my key don't work. All of a sudden, they're locked. It needs replacing. But on the 11th, after Judge Holmes reiterated the writ of reentry, they locked me out again. And since the constable showed and told them a second time not to do it again, there's been no issue. So again, it's been proven it was harassment. I don't want to be there. I had intended to be moved by Monday, my birthday. I had another car accident, as the file reflects, on Friday. It totaled my car. I didn't have a vehicle till Wednesday. I anticipate being out in 2 weeks. I don't want to be there. My dog is terrified there. She goes outside and she's excited. Do I owe them rent? Absolutely. I've tried to pay and I'll happily pay. I'm not a deadbeat. They refused my rent. Again, the CCTV should reflect it. And I have some recordings of me going back and forth getting keys to show the retaliation. I don't want to be there, trust me, Your Honor, but I also don't want to ever see this happen again. I want to quote one of the greatest people that has ever lived, and if we don't allow him to die, he won't. That's Martin Luther King. The silence of the good people does more damage than the brutality of the bad. As bad as I need my animal, what if this would have been somebody that needed it on a daily basis to live? Or an autistic, or somebody without understanding why their animal wasn't there. This ain't about money, this is about what they did. I apologize for running on, but I can contest everything that they said. They need to prove each one of these facts. Right down to, they put it in print, that they require me to lock down my service animals. That's against federal law. I agreed to lock one down. My animals ain't been a threat to nobody. Not at all. They're looking for excuses. And I'll happily move. I'll happily pay my rent. But somebody needs to answer for what they did and what they're doing. I'm sorry, Your Honor, if I ran on too long. Again, this ain't about money. This is about principle.
All right, let me go back to the landlord.
Yes.
What's the amount? Give me the amount of back rent owed again.
$2,852.13.
Are you requesting attorney's fees?
We did request attorney's fees in the petition.
For how much?
At this time, I'll stick with $1,500. The amount of work I've had to do because of how Mr. West has conducted himself in this case, it'd be higher, but I'll stick with $1,500.
Okay, I'm going to grant eviction, award possession plus a judgment of $2,852.13, attorney's fees of $1,500. Appeal bond will be
$2,553.
$2,553 will be the appeal bond. My order will be final in 5 days. Thank you all.
Thank you.
4-5. This is Jack West versus Senesta Simply Sweets. We have Mr. Jack West here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes,
Good
ma'am.
morning,
I'm
Mr.
here.
West. Thank you for being with us.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and do I have a representative on behalf of Senesta Simply Sweets?
Yes, Your Honor. It's Mark Rogstad for Cyram Austin LLC, and my clients are also online.
Good morning, Mr. Rogstad. Good morning, Mr. Rom. Thank you for being here. All right, now, we have several matters outstanding with these parties, and I also received a motion to consolidate. What are all of our outstanding matters? Let me see if I've got them straight. All right. Good morning to everyone. Let's try to read for everyone. I think it may be helpful for the court, for all of our parties, Mr. Rogstad, for you as well. Kind of what's the timeline of things that we've seen, right? So now I understand, Mr. West. Let me ask a first question here. Mr. West, are you still residing at Senesta Suites?
Unfortunately, yes, ma'am, I am. I want out so bad. It's bad. My animal's suffering, but if I leave, I lose my cause and my position. I want out.
Okay.
I absolutely
All right, Mr.
do.
West, I understand. I'm just saying you're still there. Okay, you're
Yes,
still there.
ma'am.
Now, Mr. Rogstad, is there a pending eviction case?
Yes, Your Honor. There was an eviction order, and we believe that the eviction has been final and not appealed. So we're going to be looking for a writ of possession probably tomorrow.
Ma'am, I did appeal. The payment for the rent was put off because of this here or Friday's hearing, but I did appeal. The appeal has been filed. And I have the money. I can show the Oasis finance statement from Thursday that came in to pay the rent. That's where I'm getting my money.
And Your Honor,
Is
that's correct.
also
Y'all, hold on.
There's a SIP hearing, Your Honor, for the eviction hearing on Thursday.
We're all having fun with it, right? That's what I'm saying is that you kind of make a statement and then we stop the whole process, right? So
Perfect.
here's what
Sorry.
we really are. I don't know. Mr. West has been a resident or a tenant, depending on how we all want to argue about the facts, but you can't evict him if he's not a tenant. We'll go through that again. Either way, Mr. West has been occupying a space at the defendant's property, which is a weekly suite rental hotel. Is that my understanding? Senesta Simply Suites?
It's extended stay hotel, Your Honor.
Fantastic. Okay. Mr. West has been there for a long period of time. And Mr. West originally filed with us a motion for reentry. You wanted to get back into the property.
Yes, ma'am.
That was granted.
Yes, ma'am.
And then after the motion to reentry was granted, Mr. West came back and said that he was continuing to be denied entry and he was seeking a motion to compel. Mr. West,
Yes,
you recall
ma'am.
that?
Yes, ma'am.
And in addition to compelling the defendant to allow you back in, you were seeking damages. You wanted essentially a contempt.
Yes, ma'am. I want something so that somebody has some kind of liability for what they did to my animal. I'm not looking for money. I'm looking for pain.
Mr. West, I can't do anything about this. This is physical.
Okay.
The only thing
Right.
we are here about is whether or not you have the
Okay.
right to enter into the unit and stay there for a period of time. That is
Yes,
the
ma'am.
only issue before the court today, and whether or not you can afford an appeal. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So we had a motion to reenter.
One-
That was granted. And
Can
then
I bring
Mr.
one other thing up that Your Honor brought up to me on our initial hearing where no,
Mr. West, with
Counsel
respect,
was.
let me go through the summary of what's happened, and then
Okay.
you can let
Okay.
me know, okay?
yes, ma'am.
Motion to reenter, that was granted. Mr. West got back entry, and then he came and he said that he was every day having to go through this hassle of getting entry again because the key card kept changing. And he asked for a motion to compel and a motion for damages or for contempt hearing, right? And we had a contempt hearing. And at the contempt hearing, plaintiff, Mr. Rogstad, were you the attorney that came that day? I don't know.
No, Your Honor. I've just recently been involved.
Okay, an attorney was hired on behalf of Cyram, who appeared at that motion to compel. Unfortunately, Mr. West did not come, so the entire thing was dismissed. Right, because it was Mr. West, it was your motion, but you didn't come, so the
Yes,
defendant
ma'am.
won that one, right? And at
Yes,
that
ma'am.
hearing, what I remember is that at the hearing, defense counsel said that indeed there was an automatic issue with because it's not a physical key, it's one of those like, a hotel key where you can just change the policy on it. and that indeed you were having trouble getting in, and you would go back and then they would reauthorize it. And I think the attorney said that y'all had updated the software and that that should no longer be happening, that Mr. West should be having normal access every day with his key without having to go and have it reactivated. That is, again, not a court of record. We did not get to have much of a hearing because Mr. West, you weren't able to make it that day, but that's what I
Yes,
recall
ma'am.
being told, right? And then at the same time, Mr. Ram, on behalf of the defendant here, filed an eviction against Mr. West, saying that he is here, but he should not be here anymore. He has not paid. And you did give me all of the prerequisite notices. And then that eviction was held, and the eviction was granted on behalf of the defendant. Are we all in agreement on this? Eviction was
Yes.
granted,
Yes, Your Honor.
and then Mr. West appealed the eviction.
Yes, ma'am.
And he appealed the eviction with an affidavit of inability. And then
Yes, ma'am.
the defendant has contested Mr. West's affidavit of inability on the appeal.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. And at the same time, per se, when we gave Mr. West, when he filed his appeal, we gave him his 5 days to bring us the money.
Yes, ma'am.
When was that deadline?
I believe it was the 6th. Let me confirm. Okay, so it looks like, sorry, it's loading here. So we did give Mr. West until the 6th, but I do see a note where we had told him that we had to basically put it on hold until the contest hearing.
Okay. So depending on the outcome of this hearing, Mr. West will have time to post the 1 month rent to avoid a writ of possession getting issued, if indeed he wishes to do that. And he has, like that, we still have that option there. All right.
Yes, ma'am.
And Your Honor, that hearing is set for Thursday.
All right. So today what's before us is the motion to compel and for contempt. On Thursday, tomorrow, we have a different hearing where we would reverse it, and it's a motion, a contesting of the SIP that Mr. West has. Right? Again, so tomorrow we just flip the parties, and if Mr. Ram would be going first, and Mr. West, you would be saying no, you can't afford it, right? Now,
Yes, ma'am.
because we have everyone here, do y'all want to hear these together today, or would you like to just do the compel and then tomorrow we come and we do the SIP? I'm happy to do either, but I know we've had trouble getting everyone all together.
I first off want to apologize to everybody, particularly Your Honor, for missing the other hearing again, the car accident. I do apologize. I want this done. Two,
Okay.
I can provide the one piece of information they need today, which will hopefully answer all questions. To Express Legal Finance, I am $45,000 in debt. To U.S. Legal Claims, I am $10,000 in debt. To Oasis Finance, I'm somewhere about $40,000 in debt. We're getting the numbers together. That's where my money's coming from. No, I have nothing. In fact, I have even less now because I have had to spend the last 2 month and a half trying to doctor my poor animal back and staying at home building this case because
Okay.
I'm not a lawyer and I can't afford one.
Mr. West, I appreciate that. We're good. Mr. Rugstad, are you interested in doing the contest and the appeal? You may not be prepared, so we are absolutely fine to do it
Yeah.
tomorrow.
Your Honor, I'd probably rather do it tomorrow just so I
Yeah,
can better understand what's going on here. Because again, I didn't know,
New to the case.
I didn't know that you had extended time for him to file that bond. So,
Well, we got to know whether or not he's got a SIP, so it goes into those things. All right. Today, let's talk about the motion to compel then. So let's go back. Well, today, we're just going to do the reentry. Remember, everyone, I'll see you tomorrow. We're going to talk more about the appeal, though. Let's go back to the original writ of reentry, because that is what we originally began the situation with. And it seems like there's really no dispute that the writ of reentry was granted and that it was properly granted. Mr. West is a tenant, at least by all the arguments that we've got here today. The question is, after it was granted, Mr. West, you came back and you told us that you were continuing to get it. Right now, Mr. West, are you able to enter and leave the unit?
Since your writ, I got to give an explanation. Since your writ was issued, I have only been locked out once.
Okay.
That was on the 11th. Prior to that second writ, yes, I was having daily issues Usually after I was outside. Example given, I would check my key to walk in my service animal. It would be well after checkout. I would go out the door. It worked just fine. I'd come back in 20 minutes later and it didn't work. Like I was being turned off when they see me hit the camera. I can't prove it. All I can say is that the timing's funny. And we also have a computer log that I'd like subpoenaed to prove whether those keys were being deactivated or if they were actually faulty. They have a completely computerized key system. They'll tell each and every key that was activated, deactivated, and or entered a room and when.
Oh,
I'd like to subpoena that information to prove that they did indeed lock me out. It was not mechanical failure.
Mr. West, we gave two affidavits, right? Weren't there two?
Yeah, there were
writs?
2 writs. You wrote a second writ and I was locked out again
I remember.
after that. That was on the 10th. On the 11th, I was locked out one more time. Since then, I have had not a single issue, but that was after the constable showed up and explained to them a second time not to do it.
Yeah.
It was the 11th was the last day I was locked out. And that was the day after the second writ was issued.
Yeah. All right, Mr. Rockstead, do you have any information about what went on with the keys and why Mr. West wasn't able to access his unit?
Your Honor, I think that you've already explained and understand that the hotel typical policy was that to reactivate the key, so he had to bring the key, bring the key to the front desk, and each and every time as the key was reactivated and he was allowed to enter back into the property. He was never denied possession of the property. Your Honor, the issue was then resolved, as you know. We resolved it so he didn't have to come up daily to renew his key, and that's, as Mr. West just said, that's not been an issue. The issue that's at here today, as I understand it, is that on March the 11th, he says that the lock was changed, and Your Honor, my client here can explain that lock change was because Mr. West complained that the how you swipe it sometimes and it doesn't pick up quite the first time every time, and that the lock was changed.
Wrong.
With Mr.
happened.
West's approval, and
Mr.
Mr.
West,
West.
let
Sorry.
Mr. Rockstead finish.
Sorry.
As I understand it, Judge, the lock was changed at Mr. West's agreement, and he stood there while they changed the lock. And since then, again, there's been no event where his key did not work, as he just said. So it's March 11th when the lock was changed. The locking mechanism on his door was changed under his supervision.
I'm going to have to research, but the lock was changed prior to March 11th. The lock absolutely was changed, but it wasn't on March 11th.
All right. And you said,
I'll
but
look
after
for them.
that, you've been able to get access?
Yes, ma'am. After the constable came back up second time on your writ and explained to them not to do it again, I have had not a single issue.
Okay.
But again, there were times I had 2-3 times a day I'd have to walk all the way up, and it was not at checkout. That's why I want these computer files subpoenaed, so I can prove that this was not only lockouts, but it was retaliation under the law and the code of the state. They're mad at me. They kept locking me out. There were different statements made. I'm also considering subpoenaing the closed circuit TV from their front desk, along with the recordings that I did take legally in a single consent state. The only one I was told not to record, I did cease recording. I have all of this evidence, and I do believe I have a video still, I'm trying to locate it, of the attempted forceful entry into my unit after they were announced that the constable gave me a writ of reentry. They proceeded to my door, and that's when they proceeded to bang, kick, and scream at it. And there should be a video. I can't guarantee it, but I do have witnesses. Again, I do want to subpoena these things because they know normal people don't know all this. I do. I know there's a computer log that will prove I was locked out. This was not checkout times. It was sporadic times throughout the day.
there's no dispute that you were locked out. That's why twice I gave you a writ of
Right,
reentry.
right.
What we're here
But they were
about,
doing it. They were doing it vindictively, not, and they were harassing and retaliation.
yeah, all right. I give y'all all the answers you want here. Or I mean, I've got an answer for everybody that I think we'll give y'all where you're at. Okay, because a whole lot got done in this case. So, Mr. Rogstead, this is more information for you as well. I understand your counsel who's kind of new to this situation, but well, our court is familiar. We've had cases back and forth, and so I will give you both two other cause numbers to be aware of. Okay, because there's a lot of cause numbers when you look up both of these parties. Right now, the case that we are here before is cause 26945, right? And that is about the writ of reentry that was granted on March 9th, March 10th. I think we had the hearing right there. And then it was on the 11th, the constable went out. And then on the 12th, Mr. West was given back access. We've had no issues since then, right? So the case we're currently here today about 26945 is about a writ that was issued on March 10th and that Mr. West said had not been properly, or that was being denied. And it sounds like that's not true now. And I'm going to give you an explanation about why I think we're having confusion. Because cause number 26631 is the original writ of reentry from February that was granted by Judge Olivo. And it's on that writ of reentry that Mr. West came back and filed a motion to compel in a motion for sanctions. And it's at that hearing that Mr. West didn't appear, counsel for Mr. Cyrus did appear for Senesta Suites, and I got that information, right? Now, contemporaneously to that, Mr. West came and filed a new writ of reentry in March, and we granted that. It's that writ of reentry that this contempt hearing is about. Sounds like, though, that writ of reentry was properly attested to, and then they got it fixed, and you did not have any issues after the constable came out. Correct, Mr. West, you're correct. It was the second time the constable came out with a writ of reentry for you. So I don't find there's a violation of this one, of 26945. However, Mr. West, as a result of the problems he encountered with the writ of reentry for 631, the writ that was issued in February, he filed a civil suit for the civil damages, and that is cause 26662. That is still a pending matter. The case we'll hear tomorrow is the contesting of the SIP that Mr. West filed to appeal the eviction that took place earlier this month. So there are still, right now, outstanding. You have the SIP hearing tomorrow about the appeal on the eviction. And there is a civil lawsuit outstanding that Mr. West filed related to damages from the first writ of reentry not being properly upheld. Okay, just for everybody's knowledge. So today, I don't find that the defendant violated the writ of reentry for cause 26945 for the second writ. I think that one is done properly. Okay, so today it would be plaintiff take nothing. There would be no contempt hearing, or there's no confining of contempt against the defendant for this one. Now, tomorrow, when I see everyone, we'll be talking about Mr. West's ability to post the bond. Mr. West, you've already given me a lot of information. I've seen it. We'll deal with that tomorrow. And then just for everyone's knowledge, there is a civil case pending that will receive a setting at some point, and that's cause 26662. Now, y'all are welcome to talk to each other about all of those things, but I'm just FYI, that's what I see is still pending before the court. Okay? All right, Mr. Rockstead, any questions? I know that's a lot. You can certainly call us and we'll give you that list of things, but there are multiple cause numbers.
Judge, I appreciate all that. And I think there's, that's why I filed that motion to consolidate, to try to consolidate all these things, Judge. And Judge, again, we're trying to get through this the best that we can. We want this to end for so bad. We want this to end. It's taken up an enormous amount of time, in your time, in the court's time, and we want it to end. And I apologize, Judge, in that again, I'm a little new and trying to catch up with all this stuff. And if we come in for you tomorrow, I hope that we won't take much of your time tomorrow.
We'll just be fine, y'all. There's a lot of moving parts to it. And also, Mr. Rockstead, if you're looking, Mr. West, with respect, occasionally he would misspell suites. So if you're looking for it, you're better off using a cause number as opposed to the parties' names, because sometimes it got filed in the individual name, sometimes it got filed in the LLC, and sometimes the LLC got misspelled. So just cause numbers are the way to try to follow the history of these matters.
I want
you,
to
Your Honor.
apologize again. My writing is horrible. I am dyslexic and dyslexic, and I do mess things
You're
up.
just
I do
fine.
apologize.
I appreciate
Now,
all the
Mark-
parties are being very friendly, and I appreciate that. Y'all are just fine. All
Mark-
right, that's it for today. Plaintiff took
Ma'am,
nothing on the motion.
ma'am.
Yes, Mr. West.
While we're all here, Mark and Ram, I would like to see if we and Zane and whoever else is involved, because Zane told me now yesterday there's actually another attorney involved for negotiations, to try and get together the whole bunch of us and come up with an answer. I want out of this. I want everybody to hear that, not just Her Honor or Mark. Or I don't want to be here. My animal, when she comes in here, just goes to the lip. She walks out the door and she becomes a dog again. I want out, but if I leave, I lose my position. I'm sorry. Can we please try and negotiate this? I don't want to take up the court's time, but I also have to protect my animal that has taken care of me for 13 years.
Mr. West, I hope that y'all can discuss it. Mr. Rogstad, Mr. West, y'all are certainly welcome to communicate outside of court. For today, though, we are done with this hearing, and I will see everyone again tomorrow, okay?
Thank you, Your Honor. Appreciate it.
All right.
Bye-bye.
All parties are excused. Have a better afternoon, or a
Thank
better
you.
day. We'll see everyone again tomorrow. All right, thank you very much. That's Cyrus Austin versus Jack West. Do I have someone here on behalf of Cyrus?
Yes, Mark Rogstad for Cyrus Austin.
Good afternoon. And Mr. West, good afternoon to you.
Yes, ma'am.
Right. Good afternoon, Mr. Rogstad. You're on mute, Mr. Rogstad.
Thank you, Judge.
Good afternoon. All right, Mr. Rogstad, why was this case filed?
Yes, ma'am.
This is a contest, Judge.
Oh, that's right. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. We've gone through this, gentlemen. I know better. We've just met with each other multiple times. All right. This is about the SIP contest. Right.
It was just you with the apartment. And how long did
Let me
Mr.
pull
Reynolds?
up your affidavit. All right, Mr. West, it's your contention that you're unable to pay the appeal bond. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Just say no.
All right, Mr. West, let me swear you in. I know you got sworn in the beginning here. Mr. West, are you currently employed?
How many?
Very part-time through DoorDash due to disability, and now fighting this case and nursing my animal for the last 2 months.
Right.
I closed on the home in
Mr. West,
January.
do you currently receive any benefits from Social Security or legal or any type of financial aid?
Yeah.
No,
How
ma'am.
many months did you live with Miss Williams prior to moving out and moving into the home?
Approximately 10 months.
And what were you doing to earn a
Who
living?
is that?
With the same bitch.
I'm sorry.
So you give something.
It's the background.
And I also work
What kind of work do you do?
as a bank server.
I like that we're in court hearing another court case.
I'm sorry. It was Judge Judy.
Listen, I'm a fan. It's okay.
Thank you. I'm sorry. I forgot to turn it off, and I was
That's
thinking
fine.
I had to.
You're fine. I was just curious. I kept hearing it. I was like, I don't know. What are we doing? All right.
Yeah, I guess that would be kind
Mr.
of like
West?
weird stereo.
Mr. West, how much would you say that you are currently earning each month as take-home pay?
At the moment, under 1,000. I've been working on loans. I've been averaging a couple $100 a week as a DoorDash driver to help keep me going and again making loans.
Mr. West, other than your DoorDash, you say you're making loans or you're taking loans?
Taking loans, sorry. Taking.
How many loans outstanding do you have?
Total number, I don't know, but a monetary value that I can declare is somewhere between at least $70,000 and $80,000. They're all through lawsuit funding, U.S. claims.
That's fine, sir. That's fine. Mr. Rockstead, do you have any particular questions for Mr. West about his income status or his ability to post the bond?
Your Honor, I'm just reviewing what he originally noted in his statement of inability to afford payment of court costs. And he said in there, he's making about $2,000 a month and or $2,500 a month in that filing, which was basically enough to cover the rent of where he was staying at the hotel.
Yeah. I see that. And then he listed a loan.
Your Honor, can I raise an issue with you?
Certainly, Mr. Rogstad.
Your Honor, we're trying to resolve this where Mr. West can move out on Monday.
Okay.
And is there any way that we could just postpone this determination here until maybe next Wednesday, so we could get him a chance to move out on Monday?
I don't have any problem with that. Mr. West, that does not harm you. In fact, Mr. Rogstad's offering to allow a little bit more time for you to completely clear the premises. That might resolve everything, or at least a major issue that's been ongoing between the parties. Mr. West, any objections to them giving you a bit more time here? And if not, we'd come back next week and do this?
No, ma'am. Mr. Rogstad's been a class act. It's been a pleasure working with him. One question I have.
Okay.
We are in a weird situation. I'm technically out of my 5 days, and part of our negotiation is to vacate the eviction. But we are also in the hold period. What can we do to facilitate that piece of the negotiation?
Mr. West, ask that question again. So right now, the case we're before is the eviction, and Mr. Ram, the plaintiff, cannot get a writ of possession until or unless your appeal moves forward. So you appealed an affidavit of inability, and then Mr. Rogstad contested that affidavit. So right now we're in a holding pattern of sending your case up to the county court, requiring either you to do it for free or with the payment of the bond. What Mr. Rogstad is saying is that for his position, for the client, from the plaintiff, they're mostly worried about getting back possession. And since yesterday we all were here and we did have a conversation, it sounds like you all have had some conversations. Everyone seems to be aiming for you to be able to relocate this weekend. And so if I'm clear, Mr. Rogstad would just like to wait and see if you leave, then we could come back and we would still have this exact question again next week. If you still want to pursue your appeal, then we would still have a question about the affidavit and the bond amount. But he wants to just delay the hearing today and let you have a chance to move out.
Right. You asked to restate. My question was, as part of the negotiations, as we're wishing both parties to eliminate the eviction or vacate it, how can we facilitate that piece? Because technically I am out of my 5 days, but we're still in that holding pattern where I couldn't pay my bond and we couldn't make that decision.
Mr. West, your ability to appeal your case is still ongoing. So today would be me determine whether or not to appeal, you need to pay money, or you can do it with an affidavit. Rather than make that decision, Mr. Rogstad would like me to wait and do it on, I would say, on Tuesday. And then on Tuesday, Mr. West, if you want to pursue still, and Mr. Rogstad, y'all are still here, we'll just have this hearing again, and I'll determine then, are you indigent or not?
Right. No, ma'am, that's not the question. You try, Mark. Maybe you'll...
Jack, I think I can help you on that outside. We don't have to deal with the judge because I think she's very clear on what the answer is. And it's going to be okay, Jack. But Judge, could you hear from my client just for 35 seconds?
Certainly. I need to turn my volume up because it has begun raining very, very
Tarpon,
loud outside the building. Yeah, y'all are on mute, so you'll need to unmute. I'm sorry, you're on mute. That's it.
Yes, Your Honor. So there has been multiple incidents that has happened with Mr. West, and the most concerning one beginning of this week was on Monday, April 6th, early morning, about 4:15, between 4:15 and 4:30. There was a fire alarm went off at our hotel, and when fire department came to investigate that, they were trying to find out where the smoke is coming out of. They determined that it's coming out of Mr. West's room. However, he rejected them to enter his room.
Okay.
And that's concern us. That's absolutely concern us. They have to convince him in order to go into his room. And when they finally went into Mr. West's room, they noticed that the smoke alarm was detached. And that's concern. And because Mr. West is putting other lives on a risk while he's
With respect, what do you want me to do? We're here about an appeal.
Yeah, Your Honor,
I
I
understand
just,
that's information, but I don't have any authority. So what is it I'm being asked to do?
Judge,
No.
I just wanted you to hear briefly from my client that how serious this is. We really want to get Mr. West removed. If we can come back next Tuesday and redo this, we are agreeing to do that, hoping that Mr. West will be out on Monday.
I
Yes.
understand, Mr. West, you indicated you were wanting to move to, so I maybe for the same thing if I get it. All right, Mr. West.
If I remain here, I consider that abusing my animal further than they already have. I have to move. I have to make a negotiation and get out. Absolutely.
Mr. West,
And
I'm
answer
happy.
just briefly to what they just said, it was a point blank lie. I did let them in. I was asleep. I had 2 waffles burnt. The room was smoky. The fire alarm is in place. I know it's not irrelevant, but I should be able to have my word on it. So I'm sorry, Your Honor. But no, I did let them in. I was asleep. Yeah, it took me a few minutes of groggy. It was a good hour after what had happened. I even showed them the burnt pieces of the burnt waffle. Anybody that's eaten burnt food has never cooked for themselves, especially not at 3 a.m.
I am not going to talk at all about setting fire to things in the kitchen.
Right, but I did let the officers
You know me no better.
Absolutely, and I have a witness to that also.
Right,
I did not
y'all.
refuse.
I understand parties. We've got a process here. All right, Mr. West, Mr.
Yes,
Rockstead, for our plaintiffs, I'm happy to reset till Tuesday and we can do the SIP contest then. Mr.
Thank you,
West,
Your Honor.
you move out this weekend or on Monday. Let's come back on Tuesday and we'll revisit this. Stephanie, just add it to our Tuesday docket. You guys will be dead last on our Tuesday docket, but we'll do this again then. All right.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Good luck to everyone over the weekend. Thank y'all.
Thank you, Your Honor.
I'll see you again next week. Thank y'all very much. Bye-bye. All parties are excused.
Ending in 0390, which is Cyrus Austin LLC versus Jack West. And I understand that this case has already been heard. And Mr. West, you filed an affidavit of inability to pay because you wanted to appeal the decision. And Mr. Rogstad, you've indicated that you wanted to non-suit the case. Is that correct?
Your Honor, we have non-suited the case earlier today.
Okay.
And
my understanding is that the case has already been heard, though. Is that correct?
that there was an eviction order and it was in the process of being appealed.
Okay. So what needs to be done then is we need to, from you, to file a motion to recall the judgment since that's already in place. So that would then cancel that out. And that way there's not the eviction because the effect of the non-suit is to, in essence, remove the eviction, right? My understanding is you already have possession and that's what you were looking for.
Yes, Your Honor. We were thinking that because it was still subject to this appeal process that we could non-suit it and that would be the end of it.
Well, the judgment's in place. So I can't remove, I don't know if it was Judge Holmes or who else entered the judgment. So I cannot just simply remove that judgment. You can request it to be recalled and I can sign off on that. And then that would resolve that issue. That would then make the appeal moot as well. But simply non-suiting after the fact does not remove the judgment because that's already been filed.
Okay. So I need to file a motion to recall the judgment.
That's correct.
Okay.
So, Mr. West, do you understand that?
I was asking, that would effectively do what he's trying to do with the non-suiting, correct?
That's basically what it'd do because the judgment has already been filed.
Right.
So
Okay.
to non-suit, it would have been something to do prior to the judgment being filed.
Correct. Okay.
But now that the judgment is in place, we have to remove that judgment. And And
It's
until
still a
then,
simple matter, but it's a different form, correct? Or a different,
basically the end result is going to be the same. It's more of a technicality.
Judge, I'll try to get something on file within the next 24 hours.
Okay, so
Amazing.
once that comes in, either myself or Judge Holmes will probably see that and sign that probably by tomorrow. At which point, Mr. West, that would make the appeal moot. And then there's no need to have the hearing as to whether you're indigent or not.
amazing, amazing.
Okay?
Yes, sir.
All right, is there anything else?
No, thank you, Judge. We appreciate that helping us out here.
All right, you
We
bet.
just wait on paperwork now, or is there a follow-up hearing, or where do we go from here?
No, once Mr. Rockstead files his paperwork, then you're going to receive a copy of that. That will then wipe out the previous judgment.
Just paperwork now. Amazing. Thank you, Mr.
That's correct.
Oliva. Thank you. You've been
Thank you
amazing.
both. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Judge.
All right.